Yes, hi.
Hey guys, in this video, I just wanted to tack on a few things. First of all, for our review of 0 to 1, we were just talking about a really cool concept, but before you do that, you got to go to YouTube or you got to go online. Peter Thiel, he wrote this, it was really written by Blake Masters, a student of his, in his class on entrepreneurship that he taught at Stanford University in 2012, 2013. And then the point being is he definitely wants it. You buy the book or read the book, audiobook, ebook. There's usually a free audiobook on YouTube that you can listen to. So I'd promise you that. But we were also talking about my children aren't the most academically gifted people. And we were talking about how tracking sort of makes it, there's a bias towards what? Like competitive people? Joe?
Mm-hmm. Competition in general.
Yeah, and then, so Peter talks about how he, in his middle school yearbook, someone wrote, great to know you, Peter. Good luck at good luck at Stanford Law. 8 years from then, where he would have graduated. So, 12 years from when he would have graduated from middle school. And then Peter talks about he was so tracked. He did indeed go to Stanford, and he went to Stanford Law School, and then he clerked for a Supreme Court justice, and then he didn't get this one appointment that was the next thing in the track. And then, so he got the unfortunate task of having to go to like a Manhattan corporate law firm where he lasted 7 months, 4 days, and like 3 hours. And he said it's like people on the inside, they were so tracked, they were like, wait, where are you going? As if there was no outside of this place that they were. And of course, he went on to start PayPal. But what I mean by academically gifted is that there's like 4 different teaching methods. So if you take students, have you ever heard this one, Em? If you take students from like 30 different students and teach them like visually, and if you have a more of a auditory style, or if you the bell curve is there, yeah. But there's like a different, I think that what we're saying is I've always parented my kids on this economic thing. Is like, well, no, I wanted them to go to college, like definitely no ifs, ands, or buts for, I don't know, about 12 years from when Miles was 12. And then I think that our higher education system is broken, both from a cost and really quality perspective, Do you think that's harsh on quality? Because we definitely think it's overpriced, but we're paying the cost. But what I was saying is, I've just taught my kids to be, create your own work, around places where people aren't. So it doesn't mean don't try to get A's, and that's not always a message that's gotten through. But I'm also a competitive person, so maybe, there are so many successful people who didn't do well in school. How many more people would be successful if they identified why those smart kids are underachieving? Because there's got to be ways, right?
Well, I mean, you get caught up in that system can take a lot of time. Jay, you should talk to Jay about this, because he said anyone he knows who didn't go to college has their own business and got a head start at doing that too. So
That's a key thing. And so that's what I'm teaching my kids to do, and to follow their passion and to live their truth.
It's also okay to go to school, but you can also take more tactical approach by just doing, learning as you go what you need to learn. Going back for management courses or for
which is what Miles is going to do, it sounds like.
Courses, right? If you wanted to be in a certain discipline. So, yeah, but I think everybody has to do that now. There's no alternative. Go to Canada, go to Mexico for
That's a great idea.
That's
Or you
better.
think about programs like, or if you're interested in Japan,
Yep.
you teach English. I
Other
mean,
countries,
there's
for
20
sure.
places that people start by
Just do
teaching
that.
English, right?
Right.
Leave in the comments if you've ever done that. So,
Peace Corps is a whole nother, or Habitat for Humanity is another way to kind of get the college experience without going to college.
yeah. And I also just wanted to tag on a little bit more about the Fat Tony Anti-Fragile story, because I feel like I underplayed that. So, this character is a currency trader. And what's interesting in this world of like currency trading, you would think it'd be based on, geopolitical trends and different reports and other things like that. But actually, the best traders were from like Jersey and Brooklyn, and we're like always just looking for suckers in the markets. And the character of Nero Tulips, which I said Nero Flowers, he was like Harvard educated economist looking to currency trade, and he wasn't making any money. And so it brings up the concept of he was an IYI, which I think he's very much God, Nassim would hate me for even saying this, but he's definitely, both these characters are stand-ins for Nassim himself. So the IYI, intellectual yet idiot, someone giving, have you ever heard that term, Em? Of an IYI, an intellectual yet idiot? It's like sort of like Nassim Taleb's like sort of blanket, for people who don't have skin in the game or like trained in what he calls the Harvard Soviet complex of thinking. But it's like, it's people who just aren't street smart, or they're like suckers, like economists, and journalists who, this is why you want to read the book. Don't even listen to this. I'm just trying to give you the feel for the book and then this character, Nero, also goes to London, the city, which is all like the Cockney Backstreet guys who had aptitude for math and a little street smarts, who were the best currency traders in the world. So the point being, like, applied knowledge is thicker than is worth more somehow.
You can get an education while being paid.
Yeah. And that we put a lot of value on expertise, but we don't know if that is, rewarded, right? So, Tom Peters, the management consultant, I mean, he was the famous guy because he makes $1,000 an hour. So he probably makes $10,000 an hour now, 20 years later. But it's like he had this PowerPoint about healthcare, and he's like, you got worse care if you went to a better hospital in Boston, because the specialists were all, first of all, you were a little more likely to go to a specialist when you didn't need to. Right. And then, if they were good or bad, like they'd moved up. That blew my mind.
Yeah, I know.
So, that's what that's what Taleb is getting at. It's iatrogenics is the term. It's like the harm that things that are supposed to help you. And there's all kinds, you think that sounds esoteric, but he breaks it down much better to fields like pharmaceuticals and journalism, where it actually occurs, and it's an interesting case. So he's also, so I wanted to really tag those two things, but check out all three of these books. Again, the E-Myth Revisited, the 0 to 1, and Anti-Fragile. And if you have any questions about them, let me know. Bye-bye.